Okay, so, well, I'm disappointed. Still no Frank. Frank was, mentioned. Heather Glenn wants to have an interview with him for her new book on vigilantes or Daredevil, which obviously the joke is, well, she's already talking to him. I don't know. Maybe she will talk to Frank. Or maybe she'll end up dead before then. But anyway, so this episode 6, was, well, they went back to the action, and now people are noticing that people are being killed. Now, I can only imagine that these are not important people, because how the hell can we have 60 dead bodies and nobody fucking noticed until sanitation workers just happened to find a body? I mean, that's just... I realize that they're trying to do a social commentary on the forgotten. That there are people in this world that they could disappear and nobody would give a shit. But 60? Really? Nobody would notice, not even the people's loved ones? Seriously? After 60 people, they only found out because they found a dead body? Anyway, so Kingpin decides to put together his anti-vigilante task force, which makes zero fucking sense. So again, I'm blaming this on the previous team that was writing Daredevil, because Muse is not a vigilante. Yes, he wears a mask, which I'm not sure how people knew that, because up until this point, I thought Muse was supposed to be the Banksy of this world, minus the stabby. But, I thought that, nobody knows who he is. The murals appear overnight, and people don't even know what he looks like. So, how do they know he wears a mask? But in Kingpin's warped mind, he considers people who wear masks vigilantes. How he happens to consider Frank one, then, I do not know, since Frank does not, nor has he ever worn a mask. But, so this makes no sense. Muse is not a vigilante. Yes, he's killing people, but he's killing them at random. He's just killing them for their blood so he can make his murals. He's not going after a specific person. He isn't claiming to be fighting for the little guy or whatever. So, again, it's great that we're getting to the point where Fisk brings out the anti-vigilante task force and uses the bad cops to staff it, because of course Fisk likes them. They get results because they're not aided by things like rules. Which, of course, is going to bite them in the ass, because eventually which, of course, not that it's going to, but it has bitten them in the ass, because they end up attacking people who have no reason to be attacked. So, anyway, so yeah, that made zero sense. I can understand it that he's anti-vigilante, and if Daredevil started up again or while White Tiger was doing his thing, okay, fine. That would make sense. But to go after Muse? I mean, he's a masked criminal, but he's not a vigilante. So, the hell? But anyway, we are getting the anti-vigilante task force. So, obviously, we all knew that who was going to find Muse first. It's going to be Matt. Now, I heard from Emergency Awesome that in the comics, Muse has this ability to prevent himself from being found. So Matt has a hard time finding Muse. Obviously, this was not the problem in this episode. So I'm going to say he doesn't have that ability here. And of course, the reason Matt has to go after Muse is because Angela, I appreciate the initiative. I appreciate the bravery. But what the fuck, girl? You are not equipped. Okay. Even if all you're doing is, looking to see what you could find. Fine. Problem is that this is someone who's killing people. Why on earth would you go unprepared? At least attempt to protect yourself. If you're not going to learn how to fight, at least carry your uncle's amulet. Wear his amulet so at least you have super strength, so you have a fighting chance, even if you don't have technique. Something, anything. So, of course, Muse takes her, and he's going to drain her dry of blood. I'm assuming that people don't know that his murals have blood in them because, these two fans go up to Muse and he immediately kills them and drains them. And makes them part of his mural, which that is very disturbed. Now, I'm seeing on Internet Movie Database that Muse is the same guy who asked Heather Glenn for help. So, yeah, that's not going to end well for her. But we haven't seen any follow-up. So, maybe she just hasn't found time, which is probably good for her. Well, actually, no, because Muse will probably be pissed off at her for not trying to help and want to make a statement with her or something. But, so, at first I thought, wait a minute, at this point, they are hitting you over the head many, many times that Angela is going to become the new White Tiger. It was one thing to have her mention it once. How, somebody needs to stand up and help out and blah, blah, blah. But they keep hammering it home. And it's like, yeah, we get it. You're going to become White Tiger. You don't have to keep telling us. So, yeah. But watching Matt take out Muse was fun. He, obviously Muse isn't easy to take down, so obviously he's not just your random dude. I hope that this means that Adam is dead, because Wilson really wrecked him. Now, I don't hope Adam is dead in the sense that I don't like him, but considering what Fisk did to him, no normal human could survive that. So if he is still alive, I'm going to be ticked off, because I know that this is a superhero show. You need to suspend disbelief, but the whole point of superheroes and supervillains is they can take the punishment that normal people cannot. So, unless they want to say Adam isn't a normal person, he shouldn't have survived that. But, and actually, the juxtaposition of this whole episode, let's first have Matt and Heather talk, then Vanessa and Wilson, and go back and forth. It's like, Jesus Christ, I am getting dizzy. I understand that they're trying to show how similar Matt and Fisk are. I appreciate that. But oh my God, you didn't have to do that the entire episode. And it just took away, especially from the Daredevil Muse fight, to go to Wilson beating the absolute crap out of Adam. Because I can't even call that a fight. Because Adam, okay, he was given an axe. But the man obviously doesn't know how to fight. So why are we superimposing that on what Matt's doing with Muse? Because Muse fucking deserves it. Adam doesn't. So anyway. So I thought that Matt was going to be fighting to the point where he forgets to actually save Angela. But no, he does. And he does it while what seems to be a prayer. At first I thought it was a voiceover prayer. But no, he was actually praying. Which I know Matt is extremely religious, so that checks out. But that's the thing that always annoyed me, is the religious stuff. I mean, it just seems out of place. You just beat the shit out of someone and now you're praying. It just seemed odd. I mean, him praying over Foggy's funeral folder, that's one thing. I mean, that okay, that makes sense. I mean, he's super religious. I don't know what kind of a time jump this is, so I'm assuming that this was some anniversary of his death. So maybe we're now 2 years out from Foggy's death. Or this is just a daily ritual that Matt does so he doesn't forget about Foggy. I don't know. Which, by the way, shout out to Omen Boy. He came up with this brilliant theory. He came up with this theory that in, I think, episode 4, the client that Matt was going to represent, who wanted just probation instead of 10 days despite his long rap sheet, he mentioned scrolls. So Omen Boy suggested, what if the Foggy we saw die was a scroll? Now, we don't know where this falls in the timeline. So if this is taking place around the same time as Secret Invasion, and they haven't rescued the victims of the Skrulls, that would explain why we haven't seen Foggy. Why it's been a year or two since his death that we still haven't seen Foggy come back. It's possible that he's still being held prisoner. So, thank you, Omen Boy. That was brilliant. I love that theory. But anyway, back to the episode. So, I wonder if and when Vanessa's going to find out about what's happening with Adam. It was nice to see Jack. In, I think, the previous episode, we actually had clips of Swordsman actually being a vigilante. So he's graduated from being a LARPer to being an actual vigilante. So proud that we're getting Swordsman. And this time he actually met with Fisk. Now, they seem very friendly, very familiar, and I'm thinking it's, because of Jack's former fiancée, Kate's mother. So Fisk probably knows who Jack is. So yeah, and Fisk thought that Jack was threatening him, and he's like, no, that's a warning. But I wonder if he, isn't kind of threatening Fisk. I mean, he is a vigilante now. So, it would be nice to see more of Swordsman. They played him up for comedy in the Hawkeye series. It would be nice to actually see Swordsman, strut his stuff, to show us what he can do. It would most likely be with Kate, since he almost became her stepfather. But, yeah, it would be nice to see more of him. Let's see. There are, of course, people there who, at this fundraising gala, that know perfectly well who Fisk is. I just love that sanitation worker who took 10 years. He was reciting a dissertation before he was getting to the fucking point of, we found a dead body. Actually, no. We tried to clean up the mural, and we can't because it won't come off. And oh, by the way, there's blood in it. You didn't have to go to all that excruciating detail. Even Sheila, who's much more patient than Fisk, was like, okay, let's get to the point. Or maybe she was doing that because she knows how impatient Fisk is. Let's see. We saw, what's his name? Arthur? The gang member who basically did threaten Fisk, like, oh yeah, you're old news, you're an old man, you can't tell me what to do. And I was just like, oh yeah, we can add him to Death Watch. We can totally add him to Death Watch. Fisk is gonna totally kill him. Now, whether he's gonna do it himself, most likely, but possibly hands it off to someone else. I was kind of hoping that with this Muse situation, that Fisk would actually, make a pact with Matt. But I guess at this point, he's accepting that Matt has not become Daredevil yet. Or I should say again. So it's possible that he didn't even consider, oh, let's have Matt take care of it. I mean, he's also run on anti-vigilante. So, but, politician who's a hypocrite, you have those, so. So yeah, I'm still bummed that we didn't get Frank. I think there's, 3 episodes left? This is episode 6. So yeah, I think there's 3 episodes left. Give us Frank. My understanding from Emergency Awesome is that the storyline with the bad cops and using the Punisher logo and is going to go into season 2. And Muse is also going to show up in season 2, so yeah, no dead for him. We which makes sense. I mean, there's just starting to come up with these storylines, so to make it wrap up quickly, that makes sense. But I'm glad that Angela survived, because for a second there I thought, well, maybe this was some sort of a red herring, making everyone think, oh yeah, she's going to be the next white tiger, and then kill her off. But no, Matt saved her just in time. I don't know how he could speak to her and her not think, wait, that voice sounds familiar. I mean, at first, Matt didn't speak to her, so I thought, okay, he doesn't want to speak because that's going to be a dead giveaway. No, he spoke. So the question now is, will Angela figure out that Matt is Daredevil? Because she sounds like a very smart girl. Very brave, very smart, but yet very dumb. Because, again, what the hell are you doing going into the subway system by yourself? I mean, and what I mean by yourself is not even using Hector's amulet. Seriously, what did you think was going to happen? So yeah, I was actually thinking, because of where they were, that possibly Frank would actually be the one to save her, but no, it was Matt. And he only knew about it because her mom, or was it her aunt? Maybe it was her aunt. Her aunt called him. Now, how he ended up finding her, not a clue. I think he's super smart and he memorizes people's heartbeats or something. I do not know. But anyway, somehow he found Muse. Let's see if there's anything else I want to mention about this episode. I think I covered everything I wanted to this episode. Yeah, I think I covered everything. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.